Hey everybody, Michael here, and I just want to make a video really quick about this. It's like a news video on YouTube I saw, and I'll just share my opinions on it. It's about Sony having an announcement that they're not going to be making any more physical discs for their console. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, I think I heard some stuff about this before, but this is like them officially saying something. There's a video on Fox 35 that I've seen, and I was like, "Ooh, okay. I'll make a quick video about it. I clicked it and played like a minute or two of it, and then I was like, I'm gonna make a video about this. I'm gonna share my thoughts on this. So I'll just watch the whole thing with y'all, and so I'm gonna let it roll here, and I'm gonna give my take on it. So, yep, I'm gonna be listening to it. I'm gonna have it here. So, here we go.
PlayStation making a big announcement today that is making all kinds of waves across the video game industry and fans and observers here when they announced today that they're no longer going to make physical games for their PlayStation consoles starting in January 2028. So a big announcement here. We've talked recently about this kind of debate between physical media and
Okay, yeah. So I just stopped right there, real quick. January 2028. So I mean, we got some time. It's not. I'm thinking. January 2027 could be like they could just go for that time and just like boom. But I mean, they're giving a whole year as like a time for people to, I guess, get ready for it, and probably just to see how people are taking it, and how people are responding to it after they made the announcement. So this point going forward, after they make the announcement, to see what people's thoughts are on it, and to see if people are going to be, I guess, buying more games on the console without the disc, or is sales of the games on a disc going to go up or drop. So I guess it makes sense that they're taking their time with it and having about a year plus this year and next year to see how everything roll out, and maybe there's some stuff they have to like do to prepare for all this. This is just my thoughts now, but 2028, that's some time. I mean, it's not like tomorrow or next month or anything, or the next year. So yeah, let it keep rolling.
digital media, and a big step in this conversation today. And so joining us live now to break this down for us, give us some perspective here as well. Pleased to be joined this morning by Khalif Adams, who is the CEO of Spawn on Me LLC. You may know him from his podcast. Khalif, thanks so much for joining us here on Fox 35 News Plus today.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to talk about all this madness that's happening in the world of video games and PlayStation today.
A huge announcement. Was
Cool
this something
Mortal
that anybody
Kombat carpet.
expected or anyone saw coming at this point?
I think a lot of folks who have been paying attention and kind of reading the tea leaves have seen that there's going to be a particular kind of change in this space. I think with overall sales being down on physical media, and, video gamers now wanting things at their fingertips at all times, this kind of makes that transition not only easier for the platform holders, but gives a space for folks who are really excited about that digital landscape, some excitement for them. But the folks who are collectors are looking for a new solution, because this isn't it for what they want.
I was going to say it's an interesting dynamic because there is so much to be.
Okay, yeah. So I'll pause right there. Yeah. So I guess they've been paying attention, and as he mentioned, sales for discs have already been going down. So they've been paying attention. Notice that it's already been going down. I assume that I could probably think that whenever we go to the store, and you go to check out the games for the systems, they're always like well stocked. It depends on what game. Maybe if it's a newer game, sometime they're they're sold out for a little while until they get some more. But most of the time, they've been pretty stocked on everything, it seems. Um, And so I'm not a big like gamer that I would pay attention to all this and know that the sales on discs have been going down and things of such. I'm just kind of I dip in and out, play recreationally whenever I can find the time, which is like hard these days. And I dip in and out of it, but for sure I'll notice that it seems like yeah, the discs they probably aren't moving as much as you'd think they'd be moving. He did mention collectors, and yeah, I think people who they want the physical disc in its case, and with the I don't even know if they give booklets for some of these games anymore. But all that stuff that come with it physically, I can see some collectors, some serious people wanting it. They want it on a shelf for the rest of their games, and they can grab it, look it over, pop the disc out, pop it in. I can see that. It's like me. I'm a little older, kind of like young and old that generation where we grew up around discs and all that stuff. It's like we didn't quite have all the VHSs, but we had the discs, and so we kind of appreciate the discs and like having them and having our collection whatnot right there. So yeah, games and movies and things and such. I'm all for that. Platforms that have movies and TV shows. I wouldn't care. I don't have too much of those subscriptions to those platforms, and even if I do or did, I don't really care. I want whatever I like to watch. I want it physically. I want to be able to, like you said, have it at the fingertips. I want to just reach over and grab my game or my movie or whatever. So I'll always be a person who like the physical over the digital copy of it. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm keep it going.
You said about the convenience of being able to buy digital, just download it. You don't have to track it down, a physical copy, that kind of thing. But there really still does seem to be an appetite for physical discs and to have that physical copy. I mean, this was a debate that we were just talking about last week with Grand Theft Auto 6 and that release and some of the controversy over that, not being a physical copy with that. And so it's an interesting dynamic, Khalif, when you're talking about it being 2026, so much is digital, but still being folks who want that physical copy.
Yeah, folks who are, the biggest kind of conversation around all of this is around what do you actually own? If you're given a digital code for a game, you can't resell that. If you're down on your luck and you're like, hey, I need to trade this thing in, or if you have a friend who just wants to play a thing that you have and they don't own it, you can't do that with a digital game at this point. So seeing this uprising of, animosity towards.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you got your physical thing, it's yours. So you can do whatever you want to do with it. Like you mentioned, loan it out to somebody, or sell it or something. It's yours. So you can do your things with it. But yeah, if it's digital and it's just stuck on your device, then you can't really do that. So that's kind of a pain. And like they mentioned, the debate and the conversations that are going on about Grand Theft Auto 6 being just digital. Uh I think certain things in different like industries or whatnot, they're like they take the lead, they're like the head, and then they shoot off. And there's words that describe this properly. So I'm not thinking of them right now, but they're like the head, and people follow them, and they're like the leader in different like groups of whatever it is. And so for sure, with video games, all the success that Grand Theft Auto, all those video games have had, they're definitely like the head in video games, and people definitely systems and just other games and creators and everything. They're all their eyes are on Grand Theft Auto, what they're doing, and their moves they're making. They're keeping an eye on them. And so with Grand Theft Auto 6, with the people behind it and them going this route of just making it only digital, for sure, I can see that probably have a big like piece of is probably a big piece of the puzzle with PlayStation and them wanting to go just all digital. I can see that because with Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out and what it's going to do, and how the the consumers, the fans or whatever, Grand Theft Auto 6, how they're moving forward and following with Grand Theft Auto 6 and what they're doing and saying, they probably see that it's not going to, not too much fans are going to fight it, and they're going to be used to it and like it. Some are going to prefer it. And so I can see PlayStation like, okay, we're going to make our announcement and start to go in that direction, the direction following Grand Theft Auto 6, which is going to be like the leader of all these games going forward in the future, games and gaming systems, with them saying like we should do things following the shadows of Grand Theft Auto 6 because it's going to be so successful. It's going to be different and people are going to like it and be on it so much and prefer it. So why don't we just follow what's already successful and what's doing things right in a big way. So that mentioned Grand Theft Auto 6, that's a good point. That's a good point. And I heard some things about it, but yeah, I heard about it being digital, and that's a big thing. I know about its two versions. But yeah, I didn't know it was gonna be all digital. That's crazy. Okay, so yeah. All right.
The practice is reasonable for folks who are worried about not only is the digital future going to be real, but there are some concrete actual problems with the ways that digital media gets kind of shared, especially when you think about U.S. infrastructure. Not everyone has great internet, rising costs of what it's going to have for electricity. There's so many different avenues in where this can be problematic, and it winds up being something that consumers are going to really be worrying about kind of moving in the future.
What does this mean for cost? How do you think we will see this playing out when it comes?
Oh, that's a good point you mentioned. Rising cost of electricity, but I don't know if the young people care about that, or considering that or thinking about that. It seems like these young people who are gamers, they don't really consider or care about any of that serious life stuff. They probably just care about getting the newest game, the biggest game that's popular, being dope at it, and then showing off their accolades through video, through whatever the app. I heard PlayStation has an achievements app or whatever that you can show your people. You can access it on your phone and look at my achievements. So I mean, it seems like these young people who are gamers, they're probably more worried about just how whatever they're playing that can perform, if it can perform, if it's their PC or their system that they got hooked up to their big television or multiple monitors, and they just care about what they got, if it's performing, the game that they got playing on there, and basically just showing how dope they are, recording it on video or whatever, uploading it, letting their friends know, accolades, and then that's it. Just keep playing, and then um, recycle, just the same cycle over and over, keep repeating it. Find the next, make sure the system good, upgrade it, keep bettering it. Find the next greater game, play that, build that game up, fly through it, accolades, and then keep moving on. So I don't think they'll care about rate rise in electric costs or whatever for the future, or how much is gonna be like. Yeah, anything that's like a real life issue or problem that the real people of the world who's stuck, working and doing all this stuff and struggling with life, thinking about life, I don't think they'll be too worried about that. Now, I do know and acknowledge that there's gamers who they're everyday people, so they work hard at their job and their overtime, whatever, just to get their systems and get their games, their devices that can play and whatnot. But even those people, that's why they work hard. Some of these gamers to get their thing and play it, so they'll just want to sit and play it, and they won't care either way about all that it's consuming or taking up, because they'll like, well, I'll just keep working harder for it. It's gonna be some like Ready Player One, which I shouldn't even make the reference because I haven't even fully seen the thing. I know it's kind of sad. I need to watch it, but I heard enough about it, and a lot of people reference it, and yeah. So in the future, if it'll be something like that, if I'm wrong, you can let me know in the comments. But yeah, just it'll be just focused so much on the gaming aspect and just being stuck in that life, as in opposed to real life. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be too much of a worry for the gamer who is dedicated to the gaming and getting their stuff to play it. I don't think they're gonna care too much about the, like you said, rising costs of electric. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Comes to the cost of video games, we've seen costs of video games already go up. There have been, there are obviously costs of production to a physical disc. But it also seems like many times these digital copies, retain a higher price longer than maybe picking up a used copy of a game, or even buying a game on, finding it a new copy even on sale. So what is this going to mean for the cost of video games?
Ooh, I mean, I think the cost is not going down. I think one of the conversations that we thought of when the initial kind of movement towards a digital space was happening was you'd seen in the PC space, platform holders like Steam and Valve be able to have these huge sales that they would have every year where you would get a pretty big discount on the games that you were looking forward to or hadn't gotten a chance to play. But for consoles, it winds up being a very different landscape where that has never really happened in that space. Prices have been continuing to go up while also not having any real avenue for sales in those mediums or in those spaces. So I think the idea of the $80 game is now going to be the floor, and we may see those prices even go up. I mean, the conversation around what would you have been paying for your games in terms of inflation if you were buying them, back in the day, and seeing how that inflation has grown has been a underlying undercurrent of that discussion. But I think what has now moved into the space is the floor used to be 60, now that's moved to 70, and now it's kind of moving towards 80 as being the thing that you're going to have to spend if you want to play your games these days.
And so, what does this mean for the future of video games and consoles? Is it still even really fair to call a console at this point? When you're talking digital only, just a lot of questions about what this means for the investment. I mean, PlayStation 5, which we're showing right there, not cheap. It's still not,
No.
even years after its release. And so when you're talking about folks, investing money in an expensive console, whether it's the PS5 or whether it's a future PS6, I mean, what does this mean for that in the future of whether people see the value in doing that?
Your digital hobby is going to be the most expensive.
Yeah, I'll pause real quick. So yeah, so he mentioned like the cost of games for console just going up where Steam and Valve. I don't know what that was. Yeah, I didn't even know there was another thing. I know Steam, but that's crazy. Valve. Anyway, yeah, those platforms on PCs and whatnot, they seem to like they give some sales and discounts or whatever, but the console games been only going up. Yeah, 60, 70, and now 80 and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Where it's like, are some of these games longer? I guess the graphics are better, but it's like, are they giving you more for your gaming experience being it they want to take the price up and start jacking it up now? All that's being advertised and said to be in Grand Theft Auto 6. Now I understand that they're trying to like they can go high and what they say they got the regular version or edition. That's what 80. If I'm wrong, let me know. 80 and then they got the ultimate or the better one that you get the full game experience at 100. So I guess with all the stuff, but now some of these other games, if they're trying to be like $70, 79, or if they're trying to push to 80, that's kind of a pain to think about. If the hours of the gameplay and whatnot ain't that much, and if the graphics still look like whackness, like it's like what are you paying for then? Yeah, and then he mentioned the console, PlayStation, was it PlayStation 5 console? I forgot the number he said. Yeah, I think that's what he said. The console is crazily priced and it's just not really going down and yada yada yada. And then crazy enough, my wife mostly plays that. So but us who don't make a lot of money or anything like that by any means, crazy enough with the price that it is and then all whatnot, well, we have one. So it goes to show like the people who want it and want to play on it and stuff, they'll get one. They'll find a way, even if it's saving up or waiting over time, getting it used. They'll get it. So he talking about the recession and gaming and the recession and prices nowadays and what they would have been. Um, yeah, I don't know. Certain industries, they're not like they will feel the impact in some way to some degree, but they will still keep carrying on. And I think because people, they will still want to get those things and enjoy those things and buy and consume those things. So gaming seems like one of those industries that, like, yeah, it's going to continue to keep rolling on through the recession because people will find a way somehow to get the things that they want, and gaming things are things that they want. And to think about it, it's harder these times, and so if gaming relieves your stress and there's some escape, kind of like Ready Player One, the escape thing, I'd really do to watch the movies at least. Yeah, my wife says I need to read books too, but I for sure need to watch the movies at least. I've seen like um 3 minutes of the movie or something like that. That's not probably not much, but thinking about it, yeah, these games and stuff, they definitely provide an escape from these times. So even if things are getting harder and harder, people will find a way to get that escape, and they'll be doing that. And I mean, if you think about it, it's a whole nother deeper conversation, but just a piece to get into. Comparing it to an escape, that makes sense because, like they said, they see that the younger people are consuming less alcohol, they're less social, they just aren't really doing as much things out and about and gaining as much experience as out and about as the younger people before and my generation. And it makes sense because they're experiencing it through video games and things of such. So that's why they'll just stay in and enjoy that and get their high from that and consume that. And they don't need anything else in real life necessarily. So I think that's where things are going. So the prices of these systems and games, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Because like I said, the persons, they're going to find a way, people, they're going to find a way to get these things because it's what they want and they benefit from it. It's an escape and it helps in these times. Even I just thought I had a lot of young people who they find it's tough out there. Well, they're moving back in with parents, so that's how they solve that. It's kind of like they just find a quick way to solve things, and then they get it solved, and that's the end of that. So they'll have a low paying job with the job market and hiring and whatnot, and finding people experience that whole thing's a mess. But they'll just find a job, low paying job, find whatever, and they'll just maintain that. It's cool. There's no worries. And then they'll go back in with their parents, and they'll have their room with their stuff. And as long as they got the room and they got their system and they're able to escape, then they can leave that digital world, that escape that's so awesome. They can just leave that, sleep in their bed and have their little room. It's fine. It's not like a prison or anything. It's got a window, so and then they can leave that. Well, some bedrooms got a window. If it's in a basement and it's got a lot of concrete wall around and the ground is concrete, um, the door, it might be like a prison. But either way, they will enjoy that little space in the room, get sucked in and consumed into what they're playing inside the screen. And then once they're done, they'll sleep, get up, go to that job where they're just timing to go home to get back into the real world, their real world, the digital world. And yeah. So a lot of these young people, they'll find the money, and they're not getting with like guys, they're not getting with girls or dating girls and whatnot, so they're not really having families or whatnot. So yeah, they don't have much to spend on. They'll have their money, save their money, and they'll get these games and get these monitors and consoles, and they'll get this stuff to play it because it's important to them, because it's their world, their real world. So that's something else. Just to connect to the whole thing of like the cost of these things. Yeah, I don't think the cost of these things is going to affect this serious gamers. For people who play recreationally like me, I'll avoid it to some degree. But then after a while, when something really dope comes out that I want, I'll be like, I'm gonna spend on my other things, my other hobbies. But I think I'm gonna save up and try to reach out to get that thing because there has been games that I wanted, so and I'm into, like the Tony Hawk games when he remade them. I wanted those, and then we try to save up for those. I got one of them, the latest one, as a birthday gift for my wife and stuff. So she got some money saved up, and then we got it, and we got it done. We got it. So and if there's another game in the future that I would want, we'd save up and we'd get it. So I mean, the hardworking person, recreationally like me, we'll figure out a way. The gamer, they will get it, regardless. That's the most important thing in their life. So they'll get it. So yeah.
Expensive hobby if you're a video gamer at this point. And I think that's where most of us have landed in this space, with understanding that we've not seen this happen before. Usually the trend is over the life cycle of a console, those prices usually go down. And we've seen the opposite happen, where both console makers, both Xbox and PlayStation, have added at least $100 plus to your gaming systems, with now the PlayStation 5 Pro costing around $900, with a PlayStation 6 on the horizon, which most folks are, forecasting as being at least $1,000 at the minimum. When I'm probably in that $1,200 camp for where that probably is going to land. So that winds up moving all of
Whoa. PlayStation Pro, $900, and so people, yeah, and so people are predicting the next one, was it PlayStation 6 or whatever, about 1,000. That's crazy. That's news to me. Like I said, if they're no, if they're adding all these features to it and dopeness to it, and then they're saying this is what it costs, I don't know, because like I said, I'm recreational with it. I'm casual. I pass through. I dip in the ear. I try to hear what's going on. But PC seems to be dominating and seems way better. You upgrade your thing, you beef it up, and you dominate and you dope at these games. The graphics run great, and if you need to do something, you get a little piece more, and you work on your thing. That makes sense to me. These consoles, is it just because, like, is it for them people who don't want to mess around a computer, and they're not that savvy with it, so they just get the console, and you can just carry a console you throw it in your bag, you carry it with you, you put it in a hotel, you carry it to your friend's house? Is that the deal? Is why they don't do the PC stuff? Because these consoles, to pay that much for a console when it's like the PC, thing is superior. And yeah, I don't know. That's a whole other thing. I know gamers go back and forth about that, but to hear the prices of these consoles, where you could take that money and build your PC up and have a better, doper experience playing multiple games, which the console will play multiple games too. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the people who argue and stand on the side of consoles, they'll argue that it's worth it and this is the cost of it. And the same way a PC person will spend all that money, hundreds and a grand plus into their PC, they should be able to spend hundreds or the future price tag of up to a grand for PlayStation 6. They should be able to spend that on their consoles, and it should be fine because it's worth it. If the PC person thinks it's worth it, well, the console person will say it's worth it too, I guess. But that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know it's gonna. Yeah, PlayStation, they going crazy. No more discs, and then future price of their console possibly being $1,000. That's something crazy. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna keep it going. Yeah.
your hobby into a much more expensive space, when most folks don't have that much
1,200,
disposable
right?
income anymore to be able to kind of lend towards gaming in these ways. With the trend moving, that is not going to be going down anytime soon. It's probably just going to get worse with rising silicone issues, rising RAM because of AI, so many different parts of that ecosystem that are moving in that direction. So it's going to be an expensive time to be a gamer for sure.
Well, and especially with concerns over, the lifespan of these.
Yeah, like you said, rising costs and people not having disposable income. Well, like I mentioned, they're gonna find some sacrifice. They're gonna find something to get rid of. If they have an apartment and the rent's costing too much, get rid of that, and it's going with the parents. And there you go. If they got a car, just get rid of that. They got the Waymos going crazy. They got that expanding. They got what's that thing called that people take and use a lot? They got the you call them, you hit the phone, and the ride come pick you up. That thing. They got, yeah. So you don't need a car. Get rid of communication. And if you're in the city, you like in the you can down you can you downtown area. You can public transport. So they'll get rid of the car. You don't got to pay that car payment on it if you got car payment on it. And insurance is crazy. It's like a ripoff. It's crazy. So they'll get rid of their car. If they got a girl, like they're dating, they got a girlfriend, or girl gamers, you got a boyfriend, which if you're a girl gamer and you got a boyfriend, you have to spend money on him. That's a whole lot of issues. That's something else. But So maybe not the girl gamers, but because there might be a girl gamer out there who has a boyfriend that she has to spend money on him because he's probably playing games and into games, so he's not spending his money on dates and stuff. But if there's a guy and he has a girl, get rid of her because she's costing too much money. And so I'm saying that all to say that they'll find a way. So he's talking about rising costs and things of such. Yeah, like I say, the serious gamer, they'll find a way. It don't matter. They'll get rid of some expense that will help them with their main hobby, their main real life, their world gaming, and they'll get it done.
These things anyway when it comes to kind of planned obsolescence and things like
Uh-huh.
that. Is it worth dropping that much into it? These are all things that I think are really coming to a head right now.
Ooh, the real answer is how much are you willing to pay to play? I think that winds up landing the plane there. It's how much do you really care about the hobby? How much are you looking in terms of future facing technology? But what I do think is that what we'll see in this generation and this gap generation will be most folks will stay on the platforms that they're currently on and may not potentially move up. We won't see people going to Helix as much as we thought they might be going to. We won't see people going and buying and running out of PlayStation 6, except if you're an early adopter in those ways and really wanting the best kind of tech that will be out there to offer. So yeah, I think a lot of folks are going to stay on platform on what they're currently playing now, and hoping that some prices go down somewhere down the line, but that won't happen until probably way into the middle or even end of the next console cycle, if it happens at all.
It's interesting, Khalif, just how the industry has changed. I mean, at one point, Sony kind of using having physical discs as a selling point for their consoles, and now seeing
Right. So looking at these statistics that they're showing, when they say digital gaming takes over the industry, 2025, 85% of PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 game sales were digital. Just 3% of Sony's 2025 revenue came from physical games. 2024, 82% of PlayStation 5 consoles sold are disc edition. 2025, Nintendo's first year where digital sales overtook physical sales. So just seeing all that stuff, I can see why they're like, man, let's just get rid of this. And these statistics are probably what Grand Theft Auto considered with releasing six and just saying like skip that. We kind of know that that's where they're gonna end up like going anyway. These consoles, digital, just all digital. So we're gonna announce that we're not releasing our game digital. This is where we're going to. So I believe that that's let me look just because I'm talking about it, I don't be wrong. If I am, I want to quickly correct it. Okay, let me Google this real quick. Will GTA 6 only be digital? It already pops up, and they say yes. Grand Theft Auto 6 will essentially be a digital release only, while Rockstar's games sell physical retail boxes. These cases will only contain a digital download code rather than a traditional game disc. So I guess to help the people transition, some of them physical people like I need to go out and buy it. I want to hold it in my hand. They give you a box like an empty case, and that's the end of that. Nothing inside. So you get your digital download code, but that's the end of that though. No disc to pull out and so you can get a case and smell the freshness of whatever it smells like in there because when you get a new and it got the but okay, yeah. And for the people who don't want the extra trash that they're gonna have to keep in their room or in their gaming area and eventually just throw away, they won't even waste time going to the store and driving and gas or whatnot. They won't even waste time going to get a case or ordering it. That's like waiting and you have to go outside your door and actually pick it up off the ground where they drop the packages. It's kind of dirty and stuff. They're not gonna waste time and do all that. They'll just get off of their console or their PC and just like boom, they're in it, they're playing. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 probably definitely knew that that's where it was going, and so that's why they just said they're not making any discs. So these stats are pretty interesting.
how little of their revenue comes from physical games. It really is just an interesting shift in consumer habits, you like it or not. I mean, you can't argue with those facts.
No, you can't argue with the facts. I mean, personally, I haven't bought a physical game in a very long time, almost probably in a console generation and a half because of that convenience. But I know so many folks who are in the preservation space are worried about this. Again, the larger discussion about like what do you own versus what do you not own. And there's a part of it that is, you want to be able to pass some of that stuff down to a younger generation and say, hey, son, daughter, child, here's the things that I used to enjoy when I was your age, or you when I was younger. And those folks may not even have the ability to go do that because the hardware will fail at some point, and we will see some changes in that respect. But I do think this does give a space for Xbox and Microsoft, which has been going through a ton of upheaval and some changes, to kind of maybe decide that they want to go physical in a lot of different ways, and that might be a boon for them specifically to pull in parts of their audience in a way that they might have been losing them with a lot of the changes that we've seen over the past year. So this is going to be a very interesting kind of, new definition of what consoles are going to wind up being, while also giving us new understandings of where the floor and ceiling are going to be for a hobby that we all enjoy.
That's a good point when you're talking about some of these other companies, because, do they see this as a way they could differentiate themselves? It'll be interesting to watch.
Oh yeah, that'll be good. Like you mentioned, if with Xbox struggling, no surprise there. But even though I'm a more of an Xbox fan, I've been sitting there. Well, maybe that's why some of it their players and people and fans and consumers grew out of their thing somehow. And the places and people, they were able to keep them, and they locked in, and they more loyal. Who knows? Just thought to explore. But yeah, like you mentioned, if Microsoft, if Xbox wanna keep digital, keep physical, and be the ones to say, hey, we'll stay physical, we're not leaving, and they can help bring some people in, and the people who are into that can stick with that and go over there, and kind of, that's a good move. That'd be a power move, a W move for Microsoft, if they want to do that with their Xbox little console and whatnot. They want to, that wasn't a diss, they want to, no pun intended, they want to like keep the physical disc and have that be a thing. They can. Yeah, so sad that Microsoft Xbox, they just be struggling, and O's will be down there because just because. And I would prefer them because that was my childhood. I had the original Xbox, a kind of Nintendo as a console, Nintendo 64, and then the Xbox original. I would want to see them win and do great, but it's just, I don't know. Yeah.
You talk about passing things down. I still have my Game Boy Pocket in some of those games. The red version of Pokemon and stuff that'll and still play and show my nieces and nephews and stuff like that. So I think there is something to be said for that. We should also note that game developers right now have to go through Sony to get their PS5 discs printed, so there really is no workaround here. If there was a developer who said, well, I still want to publish my game in a physical format. So that, I think, is an interesting note. Last thing here, because we have talked about this, and even saw last week when it comes to licensing, Sony deleting some digital copies of movies from users' accounts for films with companies they no longer had licensing agreements with. And so I think that's something that's scary, and for folks, even those who do like to download digital copies, as opposed to physical. Is this right now the beginning of the end of physical media, or do you think there is still a life for it in the future?
I think there will be secondary markets where folks will find ways to, find some of those medias on aftermarket markets. But I do think this is probably the death nail of physical media in so many different ways. We've seen movies go this way. We've seen music go this way. Games are kind of the last bastion of kind of staying in that space and trying to figure out good ways to give that to players. And this feels like this might be the beginning of the end, or at least the end of of the eventual end that we saw coming a couple of years ago. So I'm hoping that folks are able to, on the platform side, find ways to keep people's information safe, because when everything goes digital, that raises the level of potential intrusions for hackers and other things to take your account and potentially do some bad things with those and kind of remove you from having access to your stuff. But also, we're going to need some stopgaps in the middle to be able to help those folks who still have their physical games be able to play those things on whatever the next consoles are going to wind up being. We saw PlayStation already have a modular disk drive that they had with the PlayStation 5. I have a feeling they'll do something similar with the PlayStation 6 and Xbox. Who knows what's happening on that side of the fence yet, because we haven't heard a lot of information just yet about the physical parts of the PlayStation. I'm sorry, with the Xbox Helix yet. So lots of unknowns, but we're getting there, and hopefully we'll have more information to share pretty soon, hopefully.
Well, it's a really interesting conversation to have, and with ramifications even for folks who aren't video gamers. So I appreciate you joining us, Khalif Adams, CEO of Spawn on Me LLC. Check out his podcast. We appreciate you joining us here on Fox 35 News Plus today.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate the time.
Okay, so yeah, that whole end part there, I took from that, yeah, the younger generation, these people, they just don't care. So that's why even with the physical disc, it's like they don't care, and they try to avoid things that are too much effort. So if you gotta have a disc, handle it, put it in and out, and you got to take care, like when you have physical things that take up space, you also got to take care of it to a certain degree, because it has issues where it can break or get damaged. That's like care. So they just they don't care enough. They don't want to have to take care of something, and minimal effort. They want things with minimal effort. And so if your games and all, like you said, all of entertainment, your media or whatever, if it's at a click of the button, it's like boom and you got it. That's, I think they'll want that. If they can have their PC for their gaming, or their monitor or TV for their console, and then have their phone, then that's kind of it. They probably don't want nothing else. They don't, and the TV on a stand that's like, or it's on the ground if they can't afford anything else, or they just don't care because they minimal effort. They just don't want to buy a stand, have to put together, or have it shipped there, and yeah. So if they don't care, they don't want to have somewhere to have to put all these discs and whatnot, and try to figure out how to store that and care for that, and damage discs that having issues playing it. Yeah. So I think that's a good little way to summarize all this. The generation that's in the gaming, that's going hard with it now, they don't really they want minimal effort with things, and they don't want to have to spend all this time and effort taking care of things. Because if you can do minimal effort and less time taking care of things, you can have more time for gaming. And you can the only work you should do, I guess they're thinking, is the work that you have to do to make the money to spend on the gaming. So when you're not working because they're watching you, you have to work. You should be gaming and not doing work around your gaming. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think the PC people are the harder workers who like the work more, because they get to work on the PC and upgrade it. And then the more lazier people are the console people. Is that too much to say? That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so yeah. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs it up. It's a long one. It's supposed to be short, but okay, yeah, bye. Thanks.